Welcome back to Cooking with the Frisbees. I'm Beth. Keith is behind the camera today.
Hola.
We're not doing cooking yet, but we are going to start our seeds.
Oh my God.
So excited.
Right? What's today's date? The 26th.
22.
Here we go.
So we're going to, for the first time, grow in a grow rack. And we'll show you pictures of that. You may have already seen it on the gram that we created. So we've got heating pads in there. We've got a fan system in there just to help circulate the air in there. We have a temperature gauge. We also have fluorescent lights in there. So it's set up perfectly to create an atmosphere so that these little guys can germinate. So today we are going to be planting our basil, our eggplant, all of our tomatoes, and all of our peppers. So we have different seeds. Some of the seeds are our seeds that we saved from our harvest last summer. Some of them are new that I purchased from Johnny's. Some are from Burpee. So yeah, this is what we're starting. This is not the extent of the garden, but these are the seeds that need the longest gestation to germinate. So let's go.
How far out do we need to go?
It depends on what zone you're in.
We're zone 7B.
7B, right? So based off of what is going to be the last frost date, you can just look it up and then count back from there. So all of these seeds need 6 to 8 weeks to get mature enough to be able to put into the ground. So that was about 212-ish to 3-1. So we are kind of in between there, 226. So let's get started. So what we're using is a seed starter. The reason we're using a seed starter and not just some regular compost that we could purchase that we usually typically put into our gardens is because a seed starter, not only is it already fortified with all the food that your seeds need to be able to germinate, but also it's extremely fine. So it already has the peat moss in there. It's a really, really fine dirt. So your seeds don't have something heavy weighing on them, and they can germinate and sprout and grow lovely
And be
roots
happy.
and be happy. So I'm gonna go ahead and get it into a bucket, and I'm gonna wet it down, and I want it to get pretty wet because it's got peat moss in here. It's gonna take a little while for me to be able to get it completely soaked the way that I want it. So I'm going to add water, add water, and stir. This isn't cooperating.
Never does.
It doesn't. This is the word. So I'm going to add quite a bit of water in here. And then I'm going to stir. And then I'll just keep doing it until it is completely saturated. By saturated, I mean not as wet as a wet sponge. Like if you just filled up a sponge in the sink and you pulled it out and it would just be dripping wet. I don't want it that wet, but I do want it clumpy wet. So like this is good, but this is only the very top. I have to be able to get all the way down and bring the bottom up. So I'm just gonna keep stirring this, and you'll get bored watching me.
We'll come back. No problem. It looks like a really good arm workout.
It really is. Considering we ratcheted all those tables apart.
Yeah, we were down here doing some demolition because we're going to move I guess Willie is the best name we have for him. He's going to be moved down under the deck.
All right, so had to move him into 2 buckets because, well, I have short arms and I couldn't get all the way to the bottom of the other one. So I think these are the correct consistency. Then I can go ahead and start filling up my pots. You want to move in here? So a couple of things about seeds and starting seeds. And this is all just stuff that I've watched other people on YouTube, and it's exciting for me to try this because we have always purchased our seedlings from a local feed store that we have around the corner. And it's nice because they're all started locally, so I know that they're well seasoned to this climate, but it's fun to try and start them from seeds for ourselves. So I have the right consistency. I went ahead and I marked all my markers. This one says Cherry Tom 226.
Okay.
I've gone ahead and marked all my markers, and I'm gonna go ahead and fill all my cups. Then the way that you want to plant your seed is depending on the size of the seed. So here we have bell pepper seeds and cherry tomato seeds. You see the size of the cherry tomato seed is super small, and the size of the bell peppers is a lot larger. So when you decide on how deep to plant your seeds, you're supposed to go down twice the length of the size of the seed. So literally these cherry tomatoes are going to be like plopped on top, and then just barely covered up. So that's what we're going to do. So let me go ahead and get started. I'm not packing it, but I am pressing it. And once we go inside, you'll see the system that we have set up for watering as well. So that's the first one. And after I get these all filled with dirt, I will come back and I will put all my seeds in. Okay guys, it's that time. So I have everything labeled. I have everything, all of my seed starter in. Again, I pressed them, but I didn't pack them. So I'm gonna start with my first ones. These are heirloom tomatoes from Johnny's.
First time.
First time we're doing them. And I don't know if I mentioned it before, but I'm going to plant twice as many as I plan to transplant. So that gives us the extra shot at getting nice, healthy seedlings. So I'm just going to use the tip of the pencil, and I'm going to probably put 2 seeds in each one of these pods to give them the best chance for germination. So these are tomatoes. They're super teeny tiny seeds. So I'm just barely touching the top. And then I can put them in my hand. Can you see that? Look how tiny teeny they are.
That's tiny.
That's tiny. And then I'm just gonna take 2, stick them in the hole, and cover them up. Pink. And then just barely dust them over. With the dirt that's next to them. And that is what I'm going to do for the rest of all of these. Some of them I won't need to go, or some of them will need to go a little bit deeper because the seeds are larger. But I'm just using the tip of a pencil because, well, it's tiny. So
it's so hard to believe that a 10-foot tomato plant that bears fruit all summer comes from that tiny microscopic seed that if you sneezed, all your seeds would be blown away.
And it's really quite windy out. We're getting some pretty good gusts of wind. So I guess I'm using my body to kind of block.
We always have wind back here at Little Acorn Farm, except in the summertime. When we want wind hot. And it's 100 degrees and then there is none. What's our little faithful companions? You guys see Bentley over there. Hey, Bent. And where is Bella? Where did Bella go? Oh, there she is. She's hiding. I told you she doesn't like to be on camera. Bella, what are you doing? Little Acorn Farm's getting ready. Today is about a high of 62. So not real hot, but a perfect day to do this. And we are under our deck is where we are.
So these are a much bigger seed. So I'll plant them just a little bit deeper. Good thing I have fingernails.
Yeah, my big fingers can't do this.
Get down in there. These are poblano peppers. I really liked them. They did really well in our garden last season.
I think we had a bumper crop of those, didn't we?
We really did. I mean, I was cooking with them almost every weekend for breakfast. Oops. Seeds can stay good for a couple of years. I bought all new seeds this year because my seeds had been a little bit older. So I will be able to use the same seeds again next season. So we got jalapenos is next.
Hey guys, so I'm in the basement here. This is where our seed starting station that we built is. You can see it behind me here. This is what we're using. Beth is outside. She's finishing up planting the seedlings that we need to plant right now. And we had watched a few videos on YouTube on how to build your own seed starting station. The only thing we worry about a little bit down here is temperature. Because the basement is not finished. There's no HVAC down here. It is starting to stay a little bit warmer outside, so that's a good thing for us. But we've only done a few shelves, but within those few shelves, there'll be a lot of seeds that we can start. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna show you how I set this up. So, of course, I'm going to try not to show you the messy part of our basement, but it's truly a basement. So this was just a rack that we bought from the local Costco. It has 6 shelves, something like that. And we're only going to be planting on 3 of those shelves. And then the rest we kind of use for storage of our materials, our soils, our fertilizers, things like that. But you can see what I ordered here was just a pack of LED fluorescent lights. And they were rated at, I think, 6,500 Kelvin, which everybody said you have to be a minimum of 4,000. So of course I do everything over the top. And then we ordered some of these seed trays. You can see that. Underneath these are heating mats. So we actually have heating mats under here that heat up to a temperature, I think they stay somewhere around 75 to 78 degrees. You can leave those on. These fluorescent lights are all adjustable, so they're on chains. So as we start out, you want your seedlings and your soil as close to those lights as you can get. I've also, just for insulation purposes, I bought some of this insulation styrofoam here, and I put that on each one of the shelves too. And that's just to keep that airflow, because it is cooler here in the basement. And what I had left over, I bought it in a sheet. It was like 8 by 6 or something like that. I just took the rest of it and put it behind so that I get some good insulation in here. I can keep whatever heat that I have in here. And then for circulation purposes, I just went ahead and got some of these computer fans, and you can see that they are on now. Now, all of these, I used my Blink system that I have, a security system that I have in the house, and there's an app called Casa, and they're all hooked up to this, so everything you see here is on a timer. The only thing that's not are the heating mats, and they can stay that way because I want the heat on at all times. And then what we've done as well is I've just gone ahead, you can see this plastic. Let me pull this down without making too much noise, and I've got it held up there with some of my EV Stone starting. And then we just pull this plastic down. So once there's moisture in there, from what you saw Beth is doing, you'll see the plastic just comes down on this, and we'll tuck it on both sides of that. And it creates a really nice insulated environment with airflow, because there is a timer that has those fans come on. I think the timing I set on the fans was like, I think they come on at like 11 o'clock in the morning, go off at 5 in the afternoon. The lights come on, I think they're on for 12 to 14 hours a day. And like I said, the heating pads, they're going to stay on 24/7 because, well, the seeds need that warmth. The soil needs to stay warm. And then they're also in trays so that we can water them from the bottom as well. So the other thing that you'll see in here too, you're like, how do you have all this powered? So I bought a junction box back there, and I just zip tied it. I miscounted plugs, so I had to go get a double plug for one of them. I'm not worried about overloading circuits because these lights are all LED. These are all run off the USB plugs that are on the junction box, so that's not pulling a ton of power. The heating mats don't pull a ton of power, so nothing's really going to get overheated down here. And I wanted to do it that way so that everything was in one spot. And then I don't know if you can see down there or not. Let's see if I can zoom in on that. That is actually my, that plug down there is a Casa plug. So it's an outdoor plug, but that's what I've got things plugged into that I want on timers. So I didn't want to buy those plastic ugly timers. So that's just kind of how the way I did it. And the good thing about putting those on the timers and on the Casa app, I think I'm saying that right, that I have on my phone, is that I can check it from anywhere in the world. So the other thing I think I'm going to do is put a Blink camera down here so that I can look at that from anywhere in the world too. So I can control the functions of the air circulation, I can control the LED lights, I can put them on timers, I can manually turn them on and off. I can do that for the fans as well. The mats will stay on constantly, but that's fine. It's cooler down here in the basement. And then we also have, I bought a remote thermometer as well. The other piece of this is upstairs. And it tells us what the ambient temperature is in here. Right now it's saying it's 65 degrees, 65.8 degrees. That's because I have this cover open. But when this cover's closed, it stays somewhere around 72 degrees. And like I said, it's getting warmer outside, which means that our basement's staying warmer too. So that is our little grow station. If you got questions on how I did it, the cost of this was probably somewhere in the neighborhood of about $200 to do all this. I reused some materials that I had laying around the house, and then we'll update you as things start to progress. But we'll be back as Beth sets these up with the plants that she's doing outside. Stick around.
Okay. All right, so now we're inside. Keith talked to you about the grow rack that we have here. So I have everything. I went ahead and split them between 2 trays. Obviously we have more room for more trays, and that'll come when we start planting the rest of our seeds. But what I wanted to show you is the watering system. So we're definitely not watering these every day. But in order for them to be able to hold their moisture, we're going to put the water in the below tray, and that allows the plants to suck up water as it needs it through the bottom holes in the starter pods.
Then you don't have to worry about disturbing your seeds either.
Right.
Because that just looked like a delicate operation.
It really was. I think I'm gonna like having just half a tray. It's gonna make it a lot easier for me to water.
Yeah, you know, I didn't think about that, because if you fill the tray,
Yeah, then I would have to take one out.
right, you'd have to disturb it.
So there you have it, folks. I'm super excited. I can't wait to see how it goes.
Do you think we still need that water in there?
No, we were just seeing if it would create
Humidity?
the greenhouse. Yeah, the humidity, the greenhouse effect. So
I think it will once it gets warmer.
yeah, so obviously we'll pull the plastic down, but I have the thermostat sitting here in one of the trays on top of one of the warming mats that's on, so that we can just be able to monitor the temperature, because their perfect temperature is going to be between 70 and 80 degrees. It was super cold in here this morning, so we're going to see if these trays can keep the soil warm enough. If not, we're going to have to think about getting an additional heater in here other than just the heating pads.
Something just low voltage,
Yeah.
not a big ceramic heater or anything like that.
So I will leave the rest of the water in here so that I can come back and check it every few days. Pull this down. Close your eyes. There you have it.
Well, guys, this is the first time. We'll see how it goes. Growing your own food has been exciting for us, but this is really the first time we've done seed starting. So this will definitely be an adventure. So, all right. Well, guys, this is the first Frisbee adventure on Little Acorn Farm, growing our seed starts. We've got some things that we didn't grow last year that we're trying this year. You saw that we composted our beds. I've got some work to do to build some other beds for some other things. We'll be back and let you know how all this goes, and we'll start monitoring it, but I think it's going to be a good time. So, yes, fingers crossed. So, from Cooking with the Frisbees at Little Acorn Farm, we'll see you next time.